Yo, 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 yo. What's up, guys? Howdy, howdy. It's been a long weekend. Been a long weekend and not talking to y'all. Been a long weekend not talking to you guys. I know that I'm on late. I'm on late today. Happened by accident. I was on a call with a client. I was on a client call, so I had to finish that, and we are good to go now. We are good to go. 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 I've been working all morning on a video. I got up early today. Got up before 7. Got up before 7 to start working on a video. Step count video. Why steps are so important. How to get your steps in. And that kind of prompted me to want to hold on one second. Oh, so now my package will get delivered today, huh? Yeah, so it kind of prompted me to want to talk about strategies in how to get exercise in. By talking about the step count, talking about step count in a video, prompted me to want to make a video on how to get activity in, how to get your exercise in, because I think that this is something that a lot of people with POTS struggle with and don't really understand exercise strategies in general. And it can be kind of daunting, I feel like, for people with POTS to try to figure this out on their own. And so I want to give you guys some strategies to work with if you're watching this after the live or if you're watching this during the live, on how the ways that I have clients do things. Because I have clients do things kind of a little bit different. I think that a lot of people, well, you know what? I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until people come in. You guys might be interested to know that I found another designer, right? Found a designer on Facebook. Okay, one of my old friends decided that he would do some designs for me. And then, guess what? I got a like on this video, but I don't see any viewers. This is what I'm telling you guys. Sometimes I might have, like, I think top notch, I've had like 15 concurrent viewers at once. And but this app that I use and the YouTube thing they mess up all the time. They just don't tell me or let me know when people are in here. So you guys may be interested to know that I found a designer for my training group, for the app, for the brand that I'm building with this, and for my auto detailing business, because I already have a logo basically for my fitness stuff outside of this. And yeah, they bailed too. Designers are the worst. Artists are the worst. They are the absolute worst. They I don't get it, dude. I don't get it. Don't get it. We talked about this last time and whatever. We don't need to talk about it today. Designers are the worst. People who are artistic in nature just don't understand what business is or what it means. It's like, dude, do you want money or not? Like, it's just so weird. Anyways, today we're going to talk about POTS exercise strategies. I feel like this is something that people with POTS struggle with quite a bit. I think this is something that people with POTS struggle with quite a bit, is knowing how to strategize workouts or knowing how to get fitness without having the same capability as somebody who might be more able-bodied than them. And so this is something that I want to lean into a little bit, give you guys the strategies for. Oftentimes, I think that people in general, right, look at exercise in a way that is very sets and reps oriented, right? They look at it as in terms of sets, reps, and not really time, because that's kind of what I want to talk about. But they look at things in sets and reps and intensity, right? And there's so much more to exercise than 3 sets of 10, 4 sets of 10, stuff like that. There's so much more to activity and to exercise and to getting fit than that. There's so many more strategies that you can take aside from just counting your sets and reps. And so that's what I really want to touch on. So we've talked about steps, and I'll touch on that briefly. Steps, I think, is one of the missing elements, if you will, for people with POTS. I think that a lot of people with POTS don't put enough emphasis on sets. Can you guys hear me, by the way? If there are people in here, can you hear me? Because I cannot hear myself. I can't. Can you guys hear me? I can't hear myself. Oh. There we go. I didn't have it plugged in right away, all the way. Okay. These headphones are like studio grade headphones, so you have to make sure that they're really plugged in. Okay, so I think oftentimes, so I'll touch on steps a little bit. Steps are such a good way to get your activity in, and I have a document on this in the link in my description. There's the training group that I run, the community of positive POTS suffering people. Go click that, and you'll have more access to a bunch of documents where I give you advice and tips for along this journey that you may be going on or a loved one is going on. You get 2 free weeks. After that, it's $50 a month. Great community, great people that you can relate to in there. I think a big portion of this is getting around like-minded people, having community around this, things of that nature. Anyway, I digress. Steps. A lot of people don't really look at steps as a strategy to getting fit, but especially if you're a low-functioning POTS person, steps is such a good way to get fit because it's accessible to everybody. Everyone can do it. Even your bedridden person has to get up and go to the toilet. Even your bedridden person, for the most part, has to get up and go to the kitchen, or you can at least get up and go to the couch in the living room. I don't know how big your house is. Maybe you live in a mansion. Maybe you're much richer than I am. But either way, you have the ability to take steps in your house. So steps can be a really good strategy, and it's accessible to everybody. It's easily progressible, and it's low impact. So accessible to everybody. That means that everybody can do it. It doesn't have to be 10K steps off the bat. It can literally be 500, progress to 600, progress to 700, or it can start at 500, go to 750, go to 1,000, go to 1,250. You guys get what I'm saying. It's easy. It's accessible to everybody. We just talked about easily progressible. I just told you how you guys can progress it. And then number 3 is that it's low impact. Low impact meaning that there's no systemic fatigue that can really come from getting a step count in. So, Jazan in the last live touched on how people with PMS can get affected by steps if they're doing too much. Yeah, that's why you have to be hyper aware of what your tolerance level of exercise in general is. I've never seen it where somebody's crashed out because they've gotten too many steps. I've never seen that personally. But I'm not going to say that it's not real. It's not true. It's not possible, because anything is possible. I've just never seen it. So starting low and working your way up, I think that is the way to go. Again, accessible to everybody, easily progressible. Number 3 is it's low impact. So no systemic fatigue. Your joints and everything is aren't gonna be hurt by it. It's not a formal form of exercise, so you're not doing like in high intensity intervals and stuff like that. It's great, right? It's good. Steps, number 1. I think that is kind of the secret sauce to people with POTS and getting fit, right? Because you can do it over time. In the training app, in the description below, we have that. Steps is a big part of the program, because I've been seeing a lot of progress for people with step counts. So yeah, I don't know. And I progress it for you. So go ahead, click that link, sign up, 2 free weeks, $50 after that per month. I can hear you, Granola Grandma or Granola Mama. Granola Mama. I love that. I love that screen name. I saw that you commented on one of my videos and I meant to comment back. I love that screen name. Trevor does everything. This is lit. I have POTS. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Thanks for being a part of this channel. Thanks for coming, guys. Now, right. I think that, again, I'll touch on what I was saying before I briefly talked about steps, is that a lot of people look at exercise in terms of sets, reps, and intensity. And although intensity is the driver for normal people with exercise for results, I believe, aside from volume, we also have this issue of people with POTS. They may not have enough conditioning. They may be super deconditioned where they can't lift weights or whatever. And so I think that a really good strategy for people lifting weights Trevor, give me 1 second. I think that a good strategy for people with POTS, if they can't lift weights, is to start thinking of exercise in total reps or time domains. So in CrossFit, the reason why CrossFit is CrossFit is because that everything is accomplished in a certain time domain, right? Everything has a time domain. It's AMRAP. It's like AMRAP 5 minutes. It's EMOM, which is every minute on the minute. It's for time. Everything is for time. And then you have some stuff where it's like, what's it called? You have some stuff called chippers where you do like 50 reps of one thing, 40 reps of another, 30 reps of one, 20 reps of one, 20 or 10 reps of something. But normally there's a time cap. So everything is based in time domains. And in my experience, when I implement this with people with POTS, for people with POTS, this is really, really useful. Not only is it useful in the sense that it gives people an opportunity to chase a little bit of intensity without creating a bunch of systemic fatigue, but it also creates the opportunity for people to progress in time domains and to progress week to week. So for example, and the 5th week of my POTS program that's in the link in my description, I have people doing squats in a 7-minute time domain. So X amount of squats in a 7-minute time domain. I'm not going to give you the number of squats. So for those people that can't finish the amount of reps in that 7-minute time domain, they won't progress to the next week. Instead, rather, they will try to get more reps in that 7-minute time domain than they did last time. And for the people that did hit those reps in the 7-minute time domain, the next week, I'll either add reps to that time domain or I'll bring the time domain down, and then they'll have to hit those reps within a smaller time frame. And so this is a really good way to progress people in their conditioning and their muscular endurance and things of that nature without creating a bunch of systemic fatigue, right? Systemic fatigue usually comes from very high intensity exercise and bearing a lot of load. So when I think about systemic fatigue, or when I talk to people about that, that's like when you've done the hardest workout that you've ever done and you're laid out for like two days, not just from DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, but also because your CNS has just had it with you. You're like, dang. But guess what? Your CNS is also something that you can train to be able to but your CNS is something that you can condition to be able to handle more intensity and more load over time. So this is something that I think is especially important for people with POTS, is that you train things in time domains so that you can get yourself down to a better conditioning spot. So If you were able to do X amount of reps of squats in a 7-minute time domain, then it's a 6-minute time domain. Now it's gone to 5, and now you're doing more reps at 6 minutes, more reps at 7 minutes. You're conditioning your body to be able to handle more intense loads, more intense type of workouts in less time, which means overall you'll be able to handle higher intensities of exercise in general. This is one thing I don't see any other people with POTS talking about this. I see no one else with POTS talking about the time domain thing, which is, it's not that I know anything that they don't know or that, you know, the people don't know. It's just, I've been given this idea of time domains for people with POTS and increasing intensity through that without actually increasing loads and without actually increasing systemic fatigue because of CrossFit. It's just because of the type of exercise that I do that I've been given this like idea, and I tried it out, and I've tried it out on a lot of people, and it works, and it freaking works, right? A lot of people look at exercise as like, I need to push really hard this time. Okay. And now I need to push really hard next time. And that is the case, but you can increase intensity with the same loads over time by using different modalities of fitness. For example, if you're doing 3 sets of 10 squats at 135, let's just, you know, a lot of you probably aren't doing that right now, but just follow me. 3 sets of 10 at 135 may be intense for you this week. Then you do it next week again to repeat and, you know, to get better at it. And it's easier. Now, how do we increase the intensity there? Okay, so your rest time was at like 2 minutes. Now we're going to do it in an EMOM fashion where you're doing 3 every minute on the minute, or every minute and 30 seconds rather, right? You're going to do 1 set of 10 squats at 135. That's a decrease in rest time, an increase in intensity, so an increase in conditioning because you have to train your muscles now how to adapt to the lesser rest time. You do that, and then you may repeat it again next week, or you'll add another set so that you don't have to repeat the same thing again. Then what you do is you create another form of EMOM. So it was every 90 seconds last week. Now it's going to be EMOM times 4. And so now you're doing, it's basically, essentially you get 45 seconds of rest or 25 seconds of rest, however long it takes you to get those 10 reps. And you're just continuing to bridge the gap between exercise and rest, which brings your conditioning up, which brings your muscular endurance up, that brings circulation up, that brings fatigue down over time. And you're becoming more conditioned and more capable, basically, right? So you can even take this in terms of like air squats or push-ups or knee push-ups or inverted rows or any, you know, grab your body weight exercise, whatever body weight exercise you want to implement here. You can do the same thing. E3 mom. So every 3 minutes, every 2 minutes, every 1 minute, every 30 seconds, or complete. So 3 sets of 10 or 4 sets of 10 would be 30 to 40 reps. Okay. Complete 30 to 40 reps on back squat at 135 in 5 minutes. Same thing. So again, it's not that I know anything that nobody else knows. I'm not trying to make it seem like that. I'm just trying to show you guys that we don't have to be so narrow-minded when it comes to how are we going to get our work in to get more conditioned, to make the effects of exercise have good effects on us. We don't have to be so dialed in and focused on the traditional ways of exercise. We can come up with new ideas and come up with different modalities. A lot of what I do with people, especially with POTS, is mixed modality work. So they'll hit some sort of erg, which is like CrossFit style, right? But not CrossFit because the intensity isn't there yet. Once people get better, I introduce them to CrossFit if it's something they're interested in. But we'll do like mixed modality. So it'll be like a rower or a bike or a ski erg. And then they'll go rest 30 seconds. They'll go straight into an anaerobic type of exercise, maybe bench press, dumbbell bench, push press, box step ups or push ups or what have you, anything, right? Anything. And it just increases the capacity, their ability to handle load, their ability to handle fatigue, because this is something that you learn to deal with, right? If you can go from a bike, 30 seconds rest, and go into like 20 push press with dumbbells, you're creating an environment for your body to adapt to. I don't need to rest. In fact, I have to go. Trevor does everything. Now that you have regular intense exercise, have you had a POTS attack since? No. Nope, I have not. To be honest with you, when I was going through POTS in the first place, I didn't really have flare-ups. because I was just constantly in a state of having POTS. You know, it was more like that. It wasn't really, it wasn't like I was like good and then not good and good and then not good. It was like I had POTS consistently. Always had symptoms for the most part. Say something. So so yeah, boy. So yeah, the mixed modality thing is something I've become a big fan of. And time domains has been something that I'm a big fan of, and step counts, and also direct ab work, but that's not necessarily like a POTS thing. So I see we got some chatters in here. We got some viewers. Let's chat it up, guys. Aside from that, the mixed modality thing, why I like that so much, going from an erg or some sort of cardio, like running, bike, rower, ski erg, and then going into a load bearing exercise, right? That's very CrossFit. That's super CrossFit. But the reason why I like that is because of all the physiological adaptations that have to happen in order for you to be able to handle that type of work. It's like you have to go from aerobic, you have to go from like to, okay, I'm going to brace my stomach. I have to hold my breath for a second, even though I need to breathe really hard. And my freaking blood pressure is going to skyrocket. My heart rate's going to really skyrocket. You're going from different positions, right? So you have to pick up the dumbbells. You have to go here. You have to push. Or maybe you're going to do a deadlift. So you're going forward and back, forward and back. You're training all positional movements under fatigue. I think there's so much value in that, specifically creating fatigue and still getting work done, because oftentimes, and look, this just transfers to like lifestyle stuff with POTS too. Let's just focus on that. With people with POTS, they say that they're fatigued all the time, and that's the reason why they don't do anything. So when you do these mixed modality workouts, you understand that fatigue doesn't mean jack diddly. It doesn't mean anything. You can still get work done. So when you go from an air bike to box step ups and your freaking legs are blown up, you feel like you can't move them, and you start to move them, you begin to understand that, oh, this fatigue thing that I was thinking of, I was letting it have a bearing on me that it didn't need to have, or control on me that it didn't need to have. Have you been able to consume caffeine with POTS? I hope that answers your question. Paper Street Coffee, code CXC for 20% off. Yeah, I've been able to drink caffeine. I've been an avid caffeine user since I was like 12, 14 years old. I've used caffeine. I've taken big breaks off of caffeine before, but I'm a big caffeine guy. And I'm not recommending that everybody uses caffeine, especially not everybody with POTS. Some people with POTS cannot handle it. I don't really think it's a POTS issue. I think that it's an adrenaline issue. I could get in the weeds with that and what I think, some people's POTS issues actually have to deal with. But yeah, I drink caffeine. I drink caffeine. For shizzle, my nizzle. At first, it was not good for me. I stopped, but I built up a tolerance over the years. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that for sure. Okay, so this is something that people with POTS don't really seem to understand either, right? They deem things as necessarily bad or good for them. And although that I think that we can all agree that there are some things that are bad and that are good for you, people with POTS seem to think very black and white and as if there's no gray areas for things to be true. And I don't look at anything that way in this world. I think that gluten may not, or caffeine, let's stick with caffeine since you talked about caffeine. Caffeine may not be good for you right now, but it's the same with anything with POTS. You need to build tolerance for the thing that you want to do. So for example, caffeine might not work for you, and it might not work for you for a long time. But if you start with like a little shot glass of something with caffeine and you work your way up, eventually you're going to make that adaptation. For a lot of people that I work with, they can't even handle going in, or for a lot of people that I have worked with, they couldn't even handle like going into a cafe or a restaurant to eat. So how do we deal with that? Okay, order pickup, go in the restaurant, pick up your food, leave. Order pickup, go in the restaurant for a little bit longer, leave. Order pickup when you're a little bit closer, go to the bar and have like not an alcoholic beverage, some sort of drink, and then get your food and go. So it's like small doses over time that become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you can actually handle the thing that you need to handle or that you want to handle. So if you've been able to titrate your caffeine use up over time, okay, that's it works. Something that helped me get better was using an infrared sauna. Heat used to make my POTS flare up bad as I live in the South, but using a sauna helped eliminate my temperature trigger. Yep. In our training group, which again is the link in description below, where you get 2 free weeks. It's $50 a month after that. I have a document written on how to increase your heat tolerance and using saunas, if it's appropriate for you or not, and how to go about it. So, yeah, sauna is not necessary, but it's a very good tool. It's not just a very good tool, by the way, for heat tolerance with people with POTS. It's a very good tool for a lot of things. If you're someone like me who, when you had POTS and your blood pressure manifestation was like high, right? You had higher blood pressure because of it. Well, sauna is a really good way to help with that. If you're somebody with POTS that struggles with high heart rate and deconditioning, sauna, so long as you can actually tolerate the heat from a sauna, is a really good way to recondition your body, again, without creating a bunch of systemic fatigue. But the caveat there, again, is a lot of people with POTS can't handle heat. They don't have heat tolerance. That's why you have to build it up. But sauna has been shown to give you some of the same effects as zone 2 cardio. So it's a very good tool for anyone. I need to go out and get a biochemistry book. Brush up a little bit. Okay. Now I guess we should talk about where to start with exercise and how to really find your exercise tolerance and what you are capable of. I think that something that's useful here is that a lot of people with POTS are much more capable than they would like to believe or than they think that they are. A lot of people with POTS kind of hold themselves back mentally over the fear of what if this happens, what if something happens, rather than something that's rooted in absolute fact. And that's been my experience from working with the however many POTS clients that I've actually worked with, is that more times than not, the fear of something happening that has actually never happened to them or probably will never happen to them, or the fear that something more is wrong with them, is what holds them back from actually accomplishing the things that they want to accomplish. So a lot of people have this anxiety portion of it. It is what it is. We're not going to pretend like it's not real. So a good thing for people to do, I think, to understand what their exercise tolerance actually is to do some sort of formal fitness testing, right? And it can't be insane. It can't be crazy, but it has to be some sort of formal testing. So some things that I have people do is I'll have, again, a target. I'll have people do a rowing workout, a bike workout, and like a treadmill workout the first week that they work with me. And depending on where they're at, and if they it's not crazy, obviously, because they're people with POTS and they don't have huge exercise tolerance, and not yet. And but I always have them do some sort of test in order to see where they're at. And there's not metrics that I base, oh, they rode 500 meters in 7 minutes. So, like, I don't have any targets like that. But what I will do is, based off of what they have shown me with their times that they have completed these things in, is that I'll make progressions based on that and then retest them if I feel necessary a few weeks later, right? So there's always some sort of formal testing. And also, I think a really good thing to do is to see where your averages are with step counts. So a lot of people have Apple Watches, or they at least have an iPhone. So check over what your averages have been when it comes to steps throughout the past month or the past 2 months, because this is something that I also have people keep track of, or that I have them linked to me in my app. Is when I'm working with them one-on-one, I have them plug in all their health data, right? Link their health app from their Apple Watch and their iPhone to the app, so I can see their step averages from however long they've had their Apple Watch, to be honest. And I generally go over the last month before they started working with me, see what their average has been, and then narrow it down to an average, right? So like one day might be 28, 34, one day might be 33, 34, whatever, and I average it out. And then for a week, I'll have them hit what the average is. And if they're able to do that and they don't notice anything bad, we're starting from a really good spot. So the strategy is, figure out what your steps have been for the past month, or even the week before you really want to start, on your fitness journey or health journey when it comes to POTS. Figure out what the average is from the month or from the week. Start there for about a week or two, and then make progressions after that. If you're bedbound, if you're bedridden, this is going to look a little bit different for you. This is going to be like, try to get up and go to the bathroom as many times as possible, or walk around the house as much as you can without feeling absolutely trashed. So it looks a little bit different. It's the same, but different. Betty R, did you take any medication in the initial time dealing with POTS? No. When I got diagnosed with POTS, there wasn't very many recommendations in general besides exercise and eat more salt. So no, they wanted to put me on, I don't think it was a beta blocker. The way that the doctor described it at the time, again, this was like 7 years ago, so my memory is a little bit flawed. 6-7 years ago, the way that the doctor described it was that I had these heart palpitations, right? And I still deal with them from time to time. And basically, it would just make them feel less intense. That's how he described it. So I didn't want to be put on it. I'm not a big fan of pharmaceuticals in general. So if you've been watching my channel, I'm just not a pharmaceutical guy. And I asked him, I was like, is this dangerous, whatever is happening to me? And he said no. So I was like, okay, then I can deal with the uncomfortable feeling. I don't have to, I don't have to take, it's uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. So I'm not a stranger to being uncomfortable. Yeah. And if something like that, if all it does is just drive my anxiety up, that's a me problem. You know what I mean? Why would I put myself on medication if it's just causing me anxiety? I can deal with that. I can figure that out. I can figure out how to not get anxious from heart palpitation or whatever. So no, I didn't. Yeah, there wasn't very many recommendations. Again, when I got diagnosed initially, it was just sodium and workout. I should make a new video on my diagnosis, what the recommendations were. Like, I should just dive deep, right? I should make a new video. Because I made a video a while ago, and it's kind of like ridiculous. The only reason why I leave it up is because it's gotten over 10K views or whatever. It does pretty well. It brings new people to the channel, but it doesn't really encompass like the mindset that I have now. It puts me in like a really sorry looking spot, or frame. And that's not even how I felt about it at the time either. I felt super grateful that I figured out what the issue was and stuff like that. But again, I wasn't really like, I don't know. I mean, I'll keep it up just because it does express how I was feeling, I guess, in that moment or that time. So whatever. But I think I'm going to make a a new video on like the diagnosis, the recommendations that there were at the time, why I'm not a fan of pharmaceutical. Like I should just like dive deep into it because yeah, I get a lot of these questions actually. Same. I'm on a low dose beta blocker since 1 week. It reduces the intensity of the heartbeats, but also lowers my blood pressure. So we already reduce, and my doctor even thinks to stop it all. Yeah, I mean, I can't. Seems that your approach seems to be more sustainable. Yeah, Betty, if you're not in the training group yet, get in that training group. Go hit the link in description. I think you are, though. I think you are. Yeah, I'm just not a fan. I've never been a fan of pharmaceutical drugs, ever. And again, in the last live, I talked about this, and I said I know that pharmaceutical drugs are necessary. I know that they save lives. I know these things, right? I think that they're better used for acute circumstances, and that lifestyle should dictate everything about your health. But for some people, they need it. Like they literally need it. It's going to save their life in the moment. Like somebody's blood pressure might be like 200 over 150, something crazy like that. They need the drug or they're going to die like tomorrow. So they need the drug. I understand that. I just think that, pharmaceuticals should be an acute intervention rather than a lifestyle, how do I say it? Sentence, right? A life sentence. My approach to health, wellness, fitness, all this stuff has always been like, if it's broken, it can probably be fixed. If it's broken, it can probably be fixed through like natural remedies. If it broke naturally, it can probably be fixed naturally. That's not rooted in science or, education or anything like that. Me saying that, that's just my approach to life. Not yet in training group, as I just got diagnosed 1 week ago and still getting information. Definitely have a look into your program. Let's go. We're ready for you whenever you are. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say, to be honest, on POTS and exercise strategies. Man, I'm bummed out that I had to come on late today, guys. Bummed out. Because now I don't get to spend as much time. I got a lot of stuff to handle today. I got a lot of stuff to finish. I have a new video that I'm going to try to drop this today, hopefully, but I got to go work out. And then somebody's at my door. Somebody just rang the doorbell. Anyway, guys, I got to go. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you haven't already, click that link in the description. 2 free weeks to the training program, to the POTS community, the positive POTS community, the only positive POTS community, where we talk about everything in a positive light, and we try not to focus too much on doomsday or symptoms. And join the program. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Goodbye.